I self-identify as a loser often online, most likely. Well, even in real life as well too. And I have this kind of bad self-talk, kind of in a jokey way, I guess. But well, and in my videos, it shows in my videos, or it shows on my tweets. I tweet a lot about being a neat loser, for example, here, or in a couple other tweets. So I don't mind saying it, right? And I don't think it's a good thing, right? I don't necessarily think it's a good thing, kind of mainly because of this tweet, right? Channeling this tweet, this joke about the outcomes you want, right? If you want to be a winner, don't joke about being a loser all the time, right? So, and I do believe in this, right? I do think that joking about the outcomes you want is important. But yeah, there are two parts to this, right? So the first part is that I do think it's accurate. It's an accurate description of my employment status, right? Or my financial status. I don't have a job and I don't have money. So, well, a lot of money to spend. So yeah, I'm basically a loser in that sense. And it does extend into my social status, I guess, as well, right? Especially in like romantic terms and stuff like that. Also in my relative lack to specialization, I guess, or specialized accomplishments in some focused career compared to peers, I guess. So yeah, it is accurate in some way. But I don't always think I'm a loser, for example, but I do think I am kind of in this loser maxing arc in my loser era. I'm in a loser type vibe of a loser core, loser pilled era, right? And yeah, so even though I don't recommend joking about oneself in this way because of joke about the outcomes you want, reading actually another thread by Visa is what kind of made me think that I don't, well, not made me think, maybe realize that I don't really care about it that much, right? I think it's actually fine to do it, right? And it's because of the advantages that come with it, as Visa lays here, right? So there is a lot of freedom, right? What are the disadvantages? That there is freedom on what to do. You're a nobody, so there is relative freedom to do whatever you want. And I am kind of in this doing whatever I want mode, so I don't mind saying I'm a loser because it's kind of implied in that if you are really doing whatever you want, it's because you are, because nobody wants you to do anything in particular, right? You are not wanted. So it's like, fuck it, I'm going to do whatever I want. And then I like that. I also think that even though there are some people watching sometimes, maybe judging, maybe cheering, maybe cringing, maybe saying you're actually spitting facts. There is actually little expectation on what to do next, right? There are some people like what you're doing as you support it, some people may dislike it, and there might be awkwardness in case. In real life, for example, if people bring up my videos IRL, I'm like, okay, I don't have a lot of things to say about it, right? But overall, it's just like, it's alright. And yeah, the main thing is that there is no meta difficulty, like he talks about here, right? Because when you start winning, stuff like that, there is a reputation that precedes you. There are people who start projecting their love or their hate onto you, right? They start really imagining shit that you aren't saying, whom you've never actually interacted with, and that's all that kind of stuff, whether good or bad, starts coming to you, right? And maybe you didn't sign up for this. And I'm trying to like appreciate the moment. I'm trying to being this, talking about the advantages that do come when you're a loser, right? And yeah, even though there are advantages, I also want to talk a little bit about the disadvantages, which are kind of obvious. But yeah, the main thing I think about at all times is money. So yeah, even though money isn't an obvious advantage because of many fields, winning in many fields doesn't really guarantee money, or at least outlier amounts of riches. It generally does kind of correlate that success or winning does at least get you some kind of financial security, probably at least compared relative to the losers in the field, I guess, right? So yeah, even if you are a winner in an extremely niche sport that doesn't really have Olympics or anything like that, and especially more even in this age, you will get some kind of at least attention of some kind, and at least some kind of ability to make a living of it, which is nice. But yeah, I think people don't really. Yeah, it's obvious to me, but it isn't obvious to a lot of people. A lot of people just chase winning and stuff like that for status or things like that, which is like the next thing I wanted to talk about, which is winner circles, right? To me, it's less obvious that people want to chase status for relatively low amounts of money, but yeah, I think overall it's more important, right? And even for me, it is more important, especially because I think that if you win, you kind of belong to some kind of winners community, not an overall worldwide winners web of winners, but in your relative winning space, you hang out with other people who are aligned in the way you are, right? And that is nice. That is, you belong to some community kind of intrinsically by the stuff you have done, which is nice. And it is something that I do think is cool. I don't really think people, when they think about status, they think of it in that way. I think that people like status because of just, for the sake of it, right? It's kind of one of those primary goods, I guess, or things that you look up to just because of the sake of it. Like, it's like happiness or whatever. It's like some kind of intrinsic thing. Like respect, I guess, right? But I don't really think of it that way, that much. I obviously do. I'm insecure in many ways and stuff like that. But in particular, in success or in winning, I don't really think about it as much in respect as much as compared to this kind of sense of community, or like sense of agency or access, right? You get to be in places that you couldn't be if you don't have status, for example, in certain events of certain kinds, discuss certain things that you can't discuss with everyone or stuff like that. Yeah, things like that. Go to, for example, I thought of it in the Formula 1 Grand Prix, for example. It's like there are certain parts of the Grand Prix where if you have status in, even if you have achieved status in other branches of life that are in any way related to Formula 1, you still kind of get to hang out in the paddock of whatever. If you're some fucking random actor who is famous because of it, you can get to appear on the paddocks, and the camera and the TV cameras show you hanging out in the fancy area of the Formula 1 Monaco Grand Prix, right? Or if you're rich, you get to hang out and maybe meet a couple of pilots or whatever, right? So it's like kind of unrelated, but having that kind of winning credential gets you in the door there, which is nice, and I would like to experience that. But I don't really care about seeing caught by the cameras as much as I care about hanging out with a Formula 1 pilot and seeing what they would be like and what they would discuss and how they see the world and how they see racing. Yeah, those things are interesting to me. So it's basically the access to that more than the being caught in the cameras part of it, for me at least. Or in terms of agency, for example, being able to see one of those in the Formula 1 example, being able to talk to a Formula 1 pilot about, imagine I have some kind of, I want to make a project and it is about cars in some way, and I get to have the input of a Formula 1 pilot, and I make my car so much better for that. It's not that I can project into marketing that I've had one conversation with this Formula 1 pilot, but the product will be better in that kind of way, right? I have become more agentic and I have made a product better in some way, right? So that's nice. And that kind of agency, that kind of increased levels of agency in the world that come from access to people who are winners. That is what I like, and what is nice of not being a loser. And yeah, basically this is what I wanted to say. I've talked about this, the advantages of being a loser, the disadvantages of being a loser, and basically you know everything. It's like what you learn from going to Harvard and what you don't learn from going to Harvard books. What they teach you at Harvard Business School and what they don't teach you at Harvard Business School. You know everything now. You contain the sum of total human knowledge. Oh wait, here. What they teach you at Harvard Business School and what they don't teach you at Harvard Business School. And yeah, I downvoted this because it's probably a repost. So I had probably seen it 8-9 years ago. I probably had seen it even a year before that. So I downvoted it. But yeah, look at what happens in the world. You downvote something and then Google shows it to you before everything else. So yeah, I guess that's how life works. Don't engage in negative shit because people remember negative shit. The best thing to do if you don't want to engage with something is to not engage with something. Okay, side lesson. Side comment. This was a video from a 100 video series, video 56. And yeah, bye.